The story begins in the dead of night amidst the vast emptiness. A strange sound echoes, even if it's just the biting cold wind of late night. The moonlight peeks through the high clouds, or even the senses of a seasoned assassin. They all whisper. At this moment, a knight is kneeling, bowing his head before someone once again. Well done. He glances up, then bows his head again gratefully, saying, "Thank you, Lord Darus." The stern man standing before him is Darus Robert, with long flowing hair. His cold and mysterious aura makes the person opposite him wary. The voice in the knight's head hasn't stopped. They say, "He will die at the hands of this man tonight." Darus gently tells the knight bowing before him, "You have shown me a result worthy of the position of a shadow leader. Thanks to your efforts, our clan has been able to make significant progress." The knight replies humbly, "I only did what I had to do, sir." The knight's name is Ron. Lord Darus looks at him with a knowing smile. "I'm really curious, Ron." His eyes are fixed on the shadow cast on the ground by him, asking incomprehensibly, "Do you believe that a shadow needs freedom?" But the intelligent Rayon quickly understood Darus's meaning, answering clearly, still maintaining his bowing posture. "The Shadow Squad only needs to carry out the Master's orders. There is no such thing as thoughts, emotions, or hearts within us." Darus is pleased, praising, "Good, so you know it well." Darus looks at Rayon again, whispering, "But if you already knew that." The gentle attitude from before suddenly disappears. Darus's face darkens, his eyes shining brightly. The surrounding space also becomes gloomier. He begins to interrogate Rayon. "So why did you dare to act on your own?" He looks at Rayon with a crazed look. "And how could you escape the brainwashing?" Rayon also feels terrified. He thinks to himself, how did he know about that? What are they both talking about? What's the whole story? What is brainwashing? Rayon suddenly remembers painful memories vividly appearing in his mind, how the Robert family optimized their shadow squad. The way Darus achieved this was by kidnapping or trafficking children. Not only that, he did many more terrible things and turned them into assassins who would dedicate their lives to do dirty work for the Robert family. In other words, they raised loyal dogs for the clan. Rowan was also an unfortunate child who fell into his hands. I was also brainwashed. But thanks to a chance encounter during one of my missions, I was able to remove the shackles that imprisoned me. Rayon didn't expect Darus to find out about this. He briefly thought, but how could he know that I wasn't brainwashed anymore? He asked directly, no longer speculating wildly, "How did you know, my lord?" Darus calmly explains, his two fingers unconsciously fidgeting. "Among all the assassins, including you, there are two chains tightly bound around your necks. The first is the brainwashing that you somehow managed to escape." Then he snaps his fingers, his tone decisive. "And the second one." Suddenly, he attacks Rayon head-on, his voice raised, "It's this thing." Blood immediately spurts out. Rayon's eyes widen in surprise, unable to react. After a few seconds, he screams in pain. Ah. Rayon's hand clutched his chest. What is this pain? It feels like my heart is being sawn apart." Darus laughs contentedly, in contrast to Rayon, who is in pain. He speaks leisurely. Despite Rayon writhing in pain, he says, "That's a heartworm." Darus explains very slowly. "An insect has been implanted in your body. It is still obeying my orders and is gradually eating away at your heart." Rayon is horrified by Darus's cruel act. The worst kind of dark magic is one that can read the emotions of a slave. He grits his teeth, struggling to speak. "Just brainwashing wasn't enough for you. You had to make me eat a heartworm too. Even after doing such things, you still act all high and mighty. You're a real scumbag, Darus." Darus is extremely calm. He says arrogantly, "That's called being careful, not being a scumbag. Don't forget you were able to escape brainwashing." He arrogantly declares his philosophy of life. "People say everyone wears a mask. It's just that my mask is a bit thicker and more special than others." Rayon couldn't think of anything else. He only knew his greatest enemy in life was him. He etched the name Darus Robert deep into his mind. That painful past suddenly rushes back. I was kidnapped at an age where I could hardly remember anything. Those days Rayon could never forget. He remembers then he was raised like a hunting dog, an assassin for the Robert clan. Even when I became a shadow leader, I lived without a heart or emotions. The turning point in Rayan's life begins, but thanks to a fortunate encounter, I was able to learn a technique called Flame Eye. And that technique, which proved to be a special ability of the strongest swordsman on the continent long ago, was able to help me escape brainwashing. Rayon is lost in his memories. I thought I could finally escape the Shadow Squad and dream of freedom. Finally, I had hope. His resentment makes him scream in despair. But why is what awaits me at the end of the road death and not freedom? Rayan constantly laments his exhausted body collapses to the ground, but his mind is still bound by many things. What crime have I committed? Why do I have to die so meaninglessly? The more Rayon thinks, the angrier he gets, the resentment in his heart growing day by day. He grits his teeth, his hands clenching into fists, collapsing to the ground. Damn it, I can't let things end like this. The last bit of willpower helps Rayon struggle to his feet. He is determined if I have to die here anyway. Darius is a little startled when he sees Rayon turn over and stand up. He stares blankly. How can you stand up in that condition? Rayon doesn't bother with that silly question. He uses his hands to push himself off the ground, his posture, as if preparing to attack, constantly encouraging himself in his mind, if this is my end. Rayon grits his teeth, his eyes shining brightly. He tells himself, I'll take his arm, or at least injure him before I die. In the dead of night, Rayon roars with immense power. He screams silently, I won't die a miserable death. His whole body lunges towards Darius. He seems calm, not moving at all, standing still. Rayon's eyes are now only on Darius, his enemy. But his injured body is in no condition to face a cold-blooded man like Darius. He swings his sword decisively, blood spurting out again. Rayon once again collapses on the cold ground, his eyes wide open in agony. Darius stands watching him lie there gasping for breath. But Darius's gaze towards Rayon is also a little different. He is surprised, even if I had blocked that blow. Darius turns and leaves, but his mind is still on Rayon, even though he's just trash. But not only did he escape brainwashing, he could also endure the pain from the heartworm and attack me. How long has it been? He looks at his bleeding hand. How many years has it been since I was last injured? To be bitten by a hunting dog I trained, it's unbelievable. Darius glances back, telling himself, but now there's no need to worry about him anymore because he's already dead. Then he orders his subordinates, take care of him. Rayon's eyes are still fixed on Darius's retreating figure. Darius is considered one of the strongest warriors on the entire continent. Rayon comforts himself. My defeat was inevitable. He is strong and I am weak. How could I possibly resist? However, Rayon's eyes are still fixed forward, but I don't accept it. The ghost of the past rushes back. I regret living this life for no reason. Another ghost is Darius. He prevents him from departing in peace. I regret being played by Darius for this entire life. The greatest regret binds Rayon. He exclaims, and I deeply regret not being able to complete the flame eye. The prayer begins to echo, whether it's a god or even a demon. Anyone will do so, please. Rayon is earnestly pleading, do something and give me a chance to take revenge on Darius. The badge on Rayon's chest suddenly lights up. A strange phenomenon occurs. You have been chosen by Wrath. Wrath will enter your body. The body is dead error. After that blood-soaked night and resentment, the sun has risen again. Warm sunlight fills the space. A gentle voice calls, Sunshine. That gentle voice belongs to this beautiful girl. Sunshine, look at mommy, my sunshine. The baby in the crib raises its tiny hand, babbling, Abba. Its mother giggles. Very good. Now, what's this? The baby is surprisingly smart, responding immediately, Abu. The mother hugs the baby tightly, her face sparkling, her eyes full of happiness. Oh my lovely sunshine, who do you take after to be so cute? Abu. But this baby doesn't seem to be just an ordinary baby. It looks at its mother thinking like an adult. I still haven't gotten used to this. The woman holding me is Sylvia. Sylvia gently lifts her child again. The boy thinks to himself, I still can't believe it. She's still smiling brightly. Say, mommy, mommy. The baby looks at its mother intently. There's no doubt Rayon is in this form. I've been reincarnated as this woman's child. Rayon remembers, although he still retains memories of his past life as an assassin. When he opened his eyes, Rayon was extremely bewildered at that time. At first I thought this was a dream and slept for 100 days. Why haven't I woken up yet? However, no matter how much I slept in the end, I accepted the fact that I had been reincarnated. Sylvia holds Rayon in her arms looking at the scenery outside. The weather is so beautiful today, isn't it, my child? Sylvia looks into the distance hoping the Lord will return soon. She says hopefully then he can give you a beautiful name. Rayon looks at his mother, his eyes a little sad. It's also a bit strange to be called by a nickname, isn't it? Rayon briefly thinks, not meeting his child for 100 days, he must be very busy, right? Thinking so, his mouth immediately babbles to please his mother. Abu. The place where Rayon lives now is a vast, magnificent, and splendid space. A quick glance reveals its prosperity and luxury, Rayon thinks to himself. I still haven't been able to explore much after reincarnating, but at least I know this is a rather wealthy family belonging to the upper class. Even the bedroom is luxuriously and splendidly decorated, completely different from the gloomy scenery of Rayon's previous life. I guess being reincarnated into a powerful and wealthy family is better than a mediocre one. But even though he now lives in love and abundance, Rayon still yearns for that desire in his heart. He tells himself, being reincarnated into this wealthy life is a good thing because I need to take revenge. Rayon has never forgotten Darius's ruthless face. One thing I still remember clearly is the anger and hatred I felt in my heart before I died, but I need to persevere. Reincarnated but in the form of a child, Rayon basically hasn't been able to do much, because I've only been cooped up in this room so far. I don't know where this is. I don't know what my position is or what situation I'm in. Baby Rayon ponders in addition because I haven't been able to perfect the flame eye technique. I have to endure patiently even more. In my previous life, I was once called the greatest assassin of the Robert clan. Now fortunately, reincarnated Rayon lives for only one purpose: to wait for the day he can take revenge on Darius. Rayon must try his best. I can suppress my emotions and desires until the time is ripe. Baby Rayon looks around curiously again, but this makes me even more curious. The dazzling and, suddenly Rayon's eyes fixate on something. Sylvia's servant Helen rushes in. Lady Sylvia. She stands at the end of the room shouting loudly, "The Lord is returning." Sylvia is stunned, stammering, "Father? Father is—" Rayon is surprised. "Father, does that mean the Lord is my grandfather?" Sylvia is in a complete panic. "What do we need to prepare?" Helen hurriedly stops her. "It's too late, he's already at the door," she exclaims. "Oh no!" Sylvia's face clearly shows her anxiety. Both she and Helen look towards the door. Rayon also looks curiously, then is stunned, bewildered. What the heck? What is this presence? From outside the door, three figures silently enter, announcing the return of the Lord. The Lord's footsteps are heavy and powerful to be able to exert this pressure with just his presence. He has blonde hair, a tall and sturdy build. Rayon stares blankly, muttering, "Ah." The more Rayon looks, the more astonished he becomes. "Impossible, if I'm not mistaken, this person is." Sylvia only knows fear, stammering, "Father, father." He hasn't even greeted anyone and asks bluntly, "Is this the child?" Rayon stares at the Lord, I'm sure. He fumbles through his memories, a middle-aged man with hair shining like the sun, his eyes the fiery red of flames, and a face colder than ice, the master of the greatest clan on the continent, the Destruction King of the North, Glenn Sieghart. Glenn looks at Rayon with a slightly stern gaze. It seems, somehow. Rayon looks up at his grandfather with wide, round eyes. His heart leaps with joy. I've been reincarnated into the strongest clan on the continent. The question blurted out clearly shows surprise. You want to keep him? Rayon thinks to himself, an unpleasant fate. Lord Glenn reaches out to hold the baby, saying, "From today onwards the boy's name is Rayon, just as his name suggests, live silently and exist silently, like a shadow, as if you are not here." Rayon looks at his grandfather in bewilderment. "After overcoming life and death, I also have a new name." After speaking, he turns his head and leaves. Rayon happily mumbles the new name Raon. It's late at night looking at the quiet space around Rayon, guesses they're probably asleep now. He sits up his tiny, adorable body, a stark contrast to his previous gloomy demeanor. It's been 100 days of boredom, but now I have a chance. The body has merged with the baby, so the daily habits are also like a baby's. Rayon thinks to himself, sometimes I suddenly feel sleepy. Rayon remembers, and whenever I wake up, Sylvia's by my side. I can't even control mana or anything anymore. At least, it's quite a relief that I can sleep alone in the crib. But the remaining reason helped Rayon sit up again. All right, let's begin. He begins to cultivate again, fire ring condense. The sacred space of mountains and forests appears in his mind. Typically, continental cultivation techniques use breathing to allow mana from nature and aura to accumulate in the core. The fire ring obtained through special catalysts is different. Rayon concentrates intensely, just like a mage creating a mana circle. It will create a circle around the heart, something that increases endurance and stimulates the body's development while also enhancing willpower and mana affinity. Therefore, this method allows a person to achieve the ideal conditions to become a warrior. The more Rayon thinks, the more excited he becomes. That's an ultimate cultivation technique. He is very confident in his path. Another advantage is that even a genius like Darius cannot detect whether the fire ring exists or not. So Rayon continues to cultivate steadfastly. Above all, if I cultivate my body and mind using the fire ring. Rayon now has a different appearance, but his thoughts are not much different, and he turns Sieghart's swordsmanship into his own. Thinking of this, Rayon is overjoyed. Then the revenge against Drus Robert will no longer be a fantasy. Then he looks at his tiny body. Now perhaps it's because of this body's constitution that my mana channels are full of coldness. This is why my whole body is still cold even if I sleep for 20 hours, or many hours. Baby Rayon closes his eyes again, concentrating mana blockage, or is it in the 9 regions? This is serious. If this continues, I'll die from the cold air blocking my magic channels. He tells himself, I need to clear the channels with the fire ring. On the other hand, it would be a pity to get rid of this bone-chilling cold. I'll combine it with the fire heat in my body and circulate them. On the wild grass in the forest, rustling sounds occasionally echo. Rayon thinks to himself, sighing with relief. All right, it might be a bit slow, but it's quite stable. Next is Baby Rayon has protested with the adult Rayon inside. Rayon lies down, just cultivated a little, and I'm already tired. This tiny, weak body is so frustrating. Rayon curses, damn it, I can't. After a while, baby Rayon fell asleep. Lord Glenn silently watches his grandchild sleep soundly in the crib. He gently casts a spell on his grandchild. Then he leaves. The sky brightens again. Baby Rayon crawls on the ground, his face as if protesting something. A boo-boo. Sylvia stands beside him, cheering, Foo-foo, our Aaron is so cute, crawl some more. Ah, boo. Rayon silently curses in his heart. Playing with this mother is so tiring. My soul is an adult, but I'm forced to act like a baby. I'm about to die. Sylvia finally picks Rayon up affectionately, praising, there's nothing Rayon can't do right. So cute, I'd rather endure the cold. She constantly coos sweet nothings to her child, our cute baby Aaron. Just then, a clattering sound comes from outside. Is Sylvia here? Sylvia hears it and is overjoyed, exclaiming, Ah, old man, oh no! Saint. Ragged Saint laughs heartily, his gentle and holy smile just like his reputation. What saint here, just call me old man. Rayon is bewildered. Is this person Ragged Saint? It turns out that the approachable-looking Ragged Saint is an influential figure. His holy power and holy techniques are considered top tier on the continent. He is the most famous healer on the continent, but his wandering nature makes meeting him as difficult as reaching the sky. Ragged Saint looks at baby Rayon. I was wandering around and came to visit you because I heard you just had a child. Is it this one? Ah, yes. He lifts Rayon up, smiling gently. Oh, blonde hair and red eyes just like you. Sylvia giggles. Yes, aren't they beautiful? Ragged Saint comments a few times. The boy is really cute, different from Glenn, completely different. So, what's this baby's name? The name? Sylvia is a little flustered when introducing. The boy's name is Rayon. Ragged, Saint glances over. It's not intentional to give him a name that means darkness, right? Sylvia nods. That's right. Ragged Saint looks at Rayon, his expression a little uncomfortable hearing this name, naming a child darkness. What was Glenn thinking? Rayon stares at Ragged Saint. He doesn't resemble his title at all. Is there some connection between them? I've heard that the Destruction King of the North and Ragged Saint are friends. But if that's true, Ragged Saint smiles gently again, softly saying, "Raon, let this old man see which kid." He places his hand on that small chest. Sylvia silently watches. Ragged Saint hesitates, then says, "The boy's condition is not good." Sylvia asks anxiously, Is there something wrong with the boy? This child has an ice curse inside him." He gives Rayon back to Sylvia while briefly explaining the situation to her. "The boy's mana channels are blocked by ice shards. Let's ignore the fact that it will be difficult for him to become a swordsman in the future." He says something that makes Sylvia's mood sink. If he's not treated, the boy will die. At this rate, he won't live long. Sylvia panics. "You're lying." But Ragged Saint is still very serious. "I'll give you some medicine to maintain." "Saint, please forgive me." Helen bows her head, announcing, "The Master has summoned you. I'll lead the way. We'll go after we're done here. The Master said you must be brought immediately." Ragged Saint is annoyed, exhaling, This guy always calls at the wrong time." So he leaves. "I understand I'm going now." Rayon watches his retreating figure. "Now I know it's an ice curse. Well, knowing the name doesn't change anything." A drop of water falls on baby Rayon's face. "Don't say it's because of the fire ring." Sylvia is sobbing, her body trembling. She looks at the tiny child in her arms, tears rolling down her cheeks. She exclaims as if wanting to deny all of Ragged Saint's advice. "It's a lie." Sylvia sobs, "I can't lose you like this. Who said you would die? It's meaningless." She hugs Rayon tightly. "I'll do everything to cure you. Your mother will do whatever is necessary. You can't go. Rayon, don't get sick." Rayon in his previous life was a child deprived of love, and was even trained to be a cold-blooded assassin. He hadn't felt loved for a long time. This embrace Rayon's eyes widen. "What is this feeling? My heart aches. It hurts. My whole body is tired. It hurts." Rayon's mind is fixated on the thought, "I don't want to see this." He wants to touch Sylvia, then tell her, "Don't cry." Baby Rayon raises his tiny hand to wipe his mother's tears. Sylvia stares blankly at her child's unexpected action. Baby Rayon still tries to reach out and caress his mother's cheek. Like other babies, Rayon makes his first sound, "Mommy." Rayon calls again, "Mommy." At this moment, Glenn and Ragged Saint are talking when they hear a desperate cry. "Lady Sylvia, you can't stop. Please, what's that noise?" Helen is trying to stop Sylvia. "You can't." Sylvia rushes straight into the room where Lord Glenn is discussing work. Helen shouts, "Lady Sylvia, the Master is." She pants heavily, looking at her father. He is annoyed, scolding lightly. "What is this disrespect?" His eyes sternly look at his daughter, this clumsy and shameful child. Sylvia suddenly kneels down. "I beg you, father." She bows her head to the ground, begging her father, "Please save Rayon." Sylvia frantically begs her father, "Please save Rayon." She speaks through sobs. "You must know the boy's condition, but he's everything to me. Please, please save my Rayon." Glenn replies very calmly, "The boy certainly won't survive as a warrior. Why should I save a child who can't help the clan?" Sylvia tries to persuade him. "Isn't the child your grandson?" Glenn asks sternly, "The grandson you brought back after running away from home." He constantly utters cold and profound words. "The only thing I will do is let him bear the Zegart family name. Consider it a small fortune I'm doing for him, but that's all." Hearing her father's words, Sylvia is unwilling. She screams, "Father!" Glenn coldly orders, "I have nothing more to say. Take her out." Sylvia still tries to beg until the last moment. "Father, please, please." She begs through sobs. "Please, father, save Rayon." Despite being rejected with a mother's heart, how could Glenn's indifferent attitude stop Sylvia from begging for her child? She repeats, "Please, Rayon." But in the end, she is dragged out of the room. Ragged Saint watches Sylvia until the door slams shut. He sighs, saying to Glenn, You're as stubborn as ever, aren't you?" Ragged Saint looks at his friend. "Is it really that hard to be honest?" Why did you do that when you were the one who told me to check on your grandson? Glenn quickly brushes the story aside, saying, "Shut up. Tell me the details of the child's illness." Ragged Saint begins to report, "As I said, his 9 mana channels have been closed due to the cold, and the older he gets, the more dangerous his condition will become." Ragged Saint also knows that Glenn cast a spell on Raon last night. "Since you repelled the cold wind with your aura, there will be no problem. But as I said, your grandson will not be able to become a warrior." Glenn sips his tea and says, "As long as the boy is alive, that doesn't matter." Ragged Saint wonders, "You're acting completely different from just now. You still love your grandson, right?" He immediately wonders about what he's been pondering. But if you're going to do that, why name your grandson Rayon? There are many good names. Why that name? Glenn sighs softly. Then he explains Rayon doesn't just mean darkness. His stern and thoughtful expression is reflected in the glass 1,000 years ago. It had a completely opposite meaning. Inside Sylvia Rayon's manor, she gently feeds Rayon medicine, coaxing, "Rayon, this is the elixir Ragged Saint gave you. It's a bit bitter, but try to bear it." Not only Rayon is uncomfortable, even adults like Helen and Sylvia feel nauseous just smelling it. Rayon babbles, "Ah boo boo." Sylvia peeks and sees Rayon raising his hands to be held. "Kiao." Sylvia and Helen exclaim, "The boy swallowed it. Rayon endured the bitterness and drank it." Helen, "That's right. Even though the medicine is very bitter for a child, he surely understands people's hearts." She hugs Rayon tightly, tears starting to fall again. She affectionately calls her child's name Rayon. Rayon looks outside dreamily, thinking it's a bit bitter, but a fire attribute divine medicine is exactly what I need. Right now, the heat will repel the cold wind in my mana channels. Sylvia sobs again. "Do you understand my heart?" Baby Rayon finally grows older. He can now speak clearly, no longer babbling one word at a time. "Give me more elixir, please." Time flies. It's been 2 years since I started training and drinking elixir. Little Rayon is a bit older now. He's very happy to see his hands gradually gaining fire energy. Thanks to them, I was able to achieve the fire ring faster. Now Rayon's situation has improved a lot. My fire ring has reached 1 star. Every day that passes, the fire ring in Rayon's body is cultivated and accumulates more, and another 2 years of persistent training pass. Little Rayon does many things every day. My usual schedule includes playing with Sylvia and Helen in the morning. There's probably no child on this continent as busy as me, and I spend time napping during the day and training at night. Just like that time continues to pass, and I am now 5 years old. Rayon's abilities have improved a lot. Now he has achieved the second fire ring. Your soul has become a little stronger with the effect of the 2 star fire ring. Magic power has increased with the effect of the 2 star fire ring. Willpower has increased with the effect of the 2 star fire ring. Strength has increased with the effect of the 2 star fire ring. He smiles with satisfaction. The boy reads every word carefully, smiling excitedly. "I finally did it. I've created the second fire ring." Rayon brightens up with the second fire ring. The flame now spins into a cross shape. My mana sensitivity has increased a bit, all thanks to this message. While engrossed in research, a voice from outside the door wakes him. "Oh, my young master." Helen enters the room. "You're awake, I'll take your clothes to wash." Rayon quickly replies, "Yeah, go ahead." Rayon watches Helen diligently working. He ponders, "Just as I thought, she can't see this message window." Rayon's progress update window has appeared since he was just reincarnated. I've seen this window and my status since achieving the first fire ring. Rayon as a child was very bewildered at first. I wasn't sure what it was, but with my inherent intelligence and quick-wittedness, I quickly realized it was a convenient system that allowed me to see my condition in an instant. Status window, status first, fire ring, frostbite, low endurance. Baby Rayon was startled when Helen suddenly entered, but he observed her expression, then concluded, "And based on Helen's reaction at that time, be here, it is. It seems she doesn't see these messages." Rayon scratches his chin, lost in thought. "Even so, my poor physical condition and the ice curse haven't changed, even though I've reached 2 stars. If I don't drink the fire attribute elixir, how hard will it be to reach 2 stars? He is vague, and it's not just elixir. Rayon thinks for a long time. Surely, Sylvia, Helen, and the others in the side manor have also contributed to this for the past 5 years, so their care must have helped somewhat. Helen has left. Only Rayon remains in the room with a whirlwind of thoughts in his head. The boy exhales. Even so, I'm only 5 years old. I still have plenty of time. No need to rush. It turns out that since he was young, Rayon was often tired, not because he was a baby, but because his body was cursed. The ice curse is very troublesome, and so is the low endurance. That's why I get tired easily, even with normal movements. But Rayon quickly regains his spirits. However, in my previous life, I was known as the best assassin. Now I even know the best training method, the fire ring with experience as a foundation. As long as I can obtain the fire ring, those bad physical conditions will completely disappear. Furthermore, if I learn Sieghart's sword techniques, I will definitely be able to kill Darius. But revenge also requires waiting for the right time. Raon is now only a 5-year-old boy. He is also aware of this. Even so, I can't rush things. Darius is a candidate for the title of the strongest person on the continent. Remembering that face, Rayon tells himself, I won't be able to bear it if I get agitated about revenge so early. The number of people who can kill him can be counted on one hand. Even if it's slow, I have to gradually increase my strength until the opportunity arises. I'll end it once and for all. So Rayon can only encourage himself. Then I'll practice a little more. Just then, Sylvia enters. You're awake. Little Rayon looks at his mother with an innocent expression. Sylvia holds a set of clothes for Rayon in her hand. She says, do you remember I told you we had to go somewhere together? Change your clothes and get ready, then come to the main hall. Rayon glances up, asking absently, is today the day? Rayon is lost in thought again. The 6 kings and 5 demons have maintained the balance of power on the continent. And Raon is fortunate to be a part of that because the Sieghart clan, the clan I was reincarnated into, is one of the 6 kings. Little Rayon sits with his mother in the carriage, looking at the scenery. Outside, the 6 kings bestow blessings, while the 5 demons threaten peace. Besides, other forces also have a judgment ritual to decide whether someone is good or bad, and today is Sieghart's ritual. Inside a room, the party is filled with people, mostly nobles, the elite participating. They are chatting excitedly. It's been a long time, hasn't it? This is the first time we've met since last year's judgment ritual, right? It's because I was too busy with overseas missions. So, haha, are there any direct descendants participating this year? Whispers, loud and soft, echo incessantly. I heard it's Karun's 4th son. Haha, I also heard it's Sylvia. As soon as Sylvia and Rayon enter, they hear some unpleasant words. What's Sylvia? That failure actually. Seeing her enter the room falls silent. All eyes are on the two of them. Everyone looks at Sylvia and little Rayon with a somewhat discriminatory and distant attitude. Sylvia holds Rayon's hand tightly as they walk through the whispers. So that's Sylvia's son. He's so young, I heard he's sick. The rumor must be true. How can it be avoided? He inherited the bloodline of a failure. Tisk, should I call him the offspring of a failure? After a while, the whispers still haven't stopped. I can't believe she's allowed to set foot in here. Do we need to perform a judgment ritual for the child of a failure? I really hope I don't have to see them again. Honestly, the standards have really dropped. Rayon is also sad about this. He was reincarnated into the clan, so he can't avoid feeling uncomfortable when being gossiped about. The direct descendants are slandering me a lot. Is there something I don't know? I don't care about being cursed, but the two of them silently walk amidst the slanders. She really has no shame. Rayon is stunned when he hears this. The boy stops. Sylvia quickly realizes, hurriedly comforting her child. It's okay, Rayon. The boy looks up at his mother. Sylvia still smiles gently, softly, saying, just look at mommy. Rayon also understands and stops worrying. An announcement is made. The head of the family is entering. Calm footsteps enter. Rayon also looks up, following those footsteps. It's been a long time, probably 5 years already. His grandfather, Lord Glenn, has entered. He sits majestically on the gold-plated throne in the main hall. He is Rayon's grandfather, the best assassin of the Robert clan, Glenn Sieghart. Glenn slowly begins to speak. It seems everyone is here. Suddenly, he claps his hands as a signal. Immediately from above, a giant sword plunges straight down. Rayon stares intently. Is that the judgment sword? Glenn declares, begin the judgment ritual. Glenn quickly signals his subordinates. At his signal, a sword plunges straight down. Everyone looks up. Just then, Glenn solemnly declares, begin the judgment ritual. Little Rayon's eyes widen. Is that the judgment sword? If you place your hand on the sword, it can tell how talented a person is at using mana. Glenn's subordinate begins to read from the list. Let's begin the first one, Buren Zeeghart. On the upper floor, a child about Rayon's age answers clearly, present. Little Buren steps down, touching that sword. A child's skull has an unformed top. When they are 4 years old, it begins to close and fuse. After that, the ability to use mana will no longer change. As soon as Buren touches it, the holy sword immediately reacts. That's why the children are gathered, to find out how talented they are at using mana in this judgment ritual. Everyone who sees it claps and praises. The boy has the wind attribute look. The whole sword is glowing. The boy's mana quality is also the best, a prodigious talent, truly the son of Lord Karun. Glenn also nods. This attribute is not bad, very suitable for a swordsman. You should focus on feeling the energy of the wind. The next name is called, next is Renan Sulion, from the vassal clan Sulion. Rayon stands watching. He is confident. I can see how this sword works. The light on the blade will show the purity of mana, and the mana attribute is shown at the hilt. Rayon realizes, so this is how he determines others' talents. Zeeghart. Runan is also praised by everyone. A genius from the Sullian family. It's not for nothing that the girl bears the Sullian surname. The girl has the same status as Lord Buren, only Rayon is bored. Everyone in this house is obsessed with the word talent. He also knows his own fate. I guess my results won't be good even if I successfully achieve a 2-star fire ring. But my mana channels still have a lot of cold energy from the ice. Well, I don't care anyway. The subordinate continues to read. The last one is, everyone focuses on watching. The name called out is Zeeghart. Glenn suddenly becomes more focused, his eyes also becoming more worried than before. Rayon steps forward as called, please step forward. Sylvia gently says, let's go Rayon. Yes. Rayon doesn't show any expression like the kids before. I'm not expecting anything either. Just need to check which attribute will suit this body and which attribute I should develop in the future. Sylvia smiles gently, softly saying, have you seen how the little ones did it before? Just do exactly the same. Rayon replies, yes, I know. Little Rayon sighs, ha. Rayon gently reaches out, lightly touching the blade. In contrast to the gentle and flattering light from before, as soon as Rayon touches the holy sword, it immediately emits a brilliant yellow light that looks like fire. Rayon stares blankly, wondering, what is that light? The boy's eyes become hazy. Appearing before Rayon's eyes now is the image of hundreds of monsters with different shapes. He mutters in his head, what am I seeing? Rayon looks in utter bewilderment. Little Rayon sits on the ground looking at the figure before him, asking, this person? Who is he? He is raising his sword high. The pressure emanating from him is not ordinary. He swings his sword decisively. The monsters are quickly defeated. The monster disappears, leaving only a strange light. Rayon stares intently. The boy is bewildered. Huh, why is the stone sword? Around them, judgmental and mocking words echo. Look, the light hasn't even reached half the sword. Glenn quickly orders, the judgment ritual is over, you can go. Everyone quickly leaves, no one bothering to hide the disdainful smiles on their lips, smiles they only reserve for Rayon's mother and son. The butler respectfully says, let's go, young Master Buren. The last guest steps out the door, slams shut. Glenn still sits calmly on his chair. He says sternly, I guess there's nothing to be done, sir. Glenn didn't expect much, so he wasn't too disappointed or ashamed. I think the boy can only do so much anyway. I don't ask anything of this child. Suddenly, Glenn notices something. The stone sword is still shining brightly, the light getting brighter and brighter. Glenn looks in amazement the stone sword is emitting. He frowns when he thinks of the 5 words, the golden light of the sun, the aura that the first Zeeghart clan leader had a terrifying power strong enough to harmonize even demon fire. He remembers the words he read, golden mana and golden fire. This dazzling golden mana has only appeared once. Glenn ponders throughout the long history of the Zeeghart clan. The light before him reminds him of something it's dazzlingly beautiful, with a brilliant golden sheen. It is golden fire. The more Glenn thinks, the more astonished he becomes around this grandchild. The next morning, Rayon receives new information status window. Name Rayon Zeeghart. Title, None status. Ancient ice curse. Low endurance, reduced physical energy, reduced mana. Affinity attributes, 2-star fire ring, 2-star water resistance. All right. Rayon smiles with satisfaction. It seems I'm about to reach the 3rd fire ring. 7 years have passed since the first judgment ritual. Time passes. Coldly. Rayon is much taller. His facial expression, though still naive, is much different than before. I'm 12 years old now. Year. Rayon drifts in thought again. 7 years since the judgment ritual, and with regular training, my 2 fire rings are about to increase to 3. Little Rayon sits on the lush green grass, thinking for a long time. If I can cure the ice curse, my growth rate will be much faster. My water resistance has increased to 2 stars, and the phenomenon of ice cold spreading throughout my body is no more. So my limbs are no longer stiff, of course. Moving my body is still very difficult, but it's much better than before. So Rayon tells himself, I have to start exercising too. While sitting still, a voice suddenly calls him Rayon. It's his mother Sylvia. She says, you have to get ready. What are you doing here? Let's go before it's too late. Rayon replies, his face thoughtful. Yes, it's time for me to participate in the 2nd judgment ritual. I guess I'll have to see those confusing things again. After a few hours, the ritual also ends. Everyone quickly greets each other. Then finally, Langrisser Legreater, you've worked hard, so the judgment ritual ends here. Rayon sits silently, lost in thought. Perhaps it's because only people from the side branch are here, so everything happened faster than I thought. Finally, his name is also called Rayon Zeeghart. Glenn sternly asks his grandchild, you must have received orders to participate in basic training as a member of the clan. So, why haven't you responded for a month? Rayon looks at him blankly. What is he talking about? Basic training. Sylvia quickly comes to her child's rescue. Father Rayon is different from other children. He still has an ice curse in his body. So training is still too much for him. It turns out Mother hid it from him. Rayon looks at his mother's actions and understands Sylvia knew about this. Glenn coldly declares, this place is Zeeghart's territory. He frowns, his face clearly serious, saying, there are no exceptions or refusals from those who bear the Zeeghart name. If you can't walk, then crawl there and train a Zeeghart family member must have that spirit. Sylvia panics and begs, no you can't, please father, give me some time. Glenn replies angrily, making Sylvia stunned. If you can't, are you planning to run away again, taking that child with you? Glenn throws harsh words at his only daughter. On this land, you can only live as a Zeeghart. If you don't like it, then get out of here right now. As soon as he finishes speaking, everyone is in an uproar again. What is she planning to run away again? This will be interesting. Now she doesn't even have the core or mana channels to break it. I can't believe someone like that is a direct descendant. Rayon sees his mother enduring humiliation and realizes now, I understand the reason Sylvia is treated like this. There's no new reason Rayon understands, it's because she left this clan. He carefully pieces together every detail. Sylvia has no aura, even though she learned martial arts. That means she destroyed her energy core and her mana channels were completely destroyed. Then Mother ran away from home and met my father and married him. Fate didn't smile on Sylvia, but after getting pregnant with me, my father died and she had no choice but to return home. Sylvia is helpless. She knows she can't persuade her stubborn father, so she turns and leaves. Rayon looks at his mother because she gave up her position in the direct lineage and has now returned. So she has to endure treatment even worse than a member of a collateral branch. However, that's other people's perspective, and in their own situation, Assassin Rayon's figure exuding an overwhelming aura brushes past, startling Sylvia a little. But looking back, she doesn't see any assassin, only her son Rayon, the boy, full of aura, arrogant. Stepping forward confidently, Rayon thinks to himself as Sylvia's son, I can't bear to see my mother treated like this. Seeing Rayon step forward, Sylvia screams, Rayon, what are you doing? Come back here, young master mother will take care of this, so please. Rayon reassures his mother, his eyes extremely determined. It's okay, mother. He steps forward, speaking to Glenn clearly. As per your order, I will participate in the training starting next month as you have commanded. At this moment, Denier, sitting in the same row as Glenn, speaks up. But I didn't even know there was training. He's also worried about Rayon. No matter what it's called, basic training is not at a level that a sick person can endure. You should withdraw immediately. Rayon faces the advice and judgmental gazes, only speaking loudly and clearly. I already bear the Sieghart name, so I will have to pay the price for it. I will participate in the training. Glenn is angry, frowning, scolding. You dare to tarnish the Sieghart name. Do you understand the seriousness of mentioning the Sieghart name? Ganesh. The pressure emanating from Glenn makes Rayon a little scared. He looks at his grandfather, his face pale. Suddenly a few drops of blood trickle down. Rayon's eyes clearly show terror, his eyes wide with shock as if his flesh is being torn apart. Rayon's hands tremble. He tries to clench them to stay calm. Even just a look can affect me like this. It feels like my heart is clenching. It even affects me more than Robert's. A question arises in Rayon's mind. Is this the warrior, the destruction king of the north? Sylvia quickly rushes to hug Rayon. Sir Rayon is still young, so he doesn't know what he's saying. Denier also speaks up. Sir, he's still just a child who doesn't know anything. Please withdraw the pressure you're putting on him. Glenn raises his voice, his words carrying a terrifying weight, making the listener immediately fearful. I'm speaking. Denier stammers. I'm sorry. Sylvia still tries to beg, her hands tightly holding Rayon. Father, Rayon's health can't handle training. Please withdraw the pressure. Rayon still hasn't recovered from his shock. He mutters in his head, assassins are those who must live in the shadows. Being an assassin means that every moment you're always closer to death than life. They will never reveal themselves. Rayon's past urges the 12-year-old Rayon to step forward, but now I'm no longer an assassin like before. Little Rayon turns his head to look at his former self. Rayon reminds himself, I will no longer live in the shadows. 12-year-old Rayon stares at his old self, telling himself, I will not live like an assassin anymore. Little Rayon grits his teeth, sweat pouring out. Rayon constantly repeats his current desire in his head. I am Rayon Sieghart, and I will bring Sylvia back to her rightful place. The boy continues to speak clearly. No, I don't know, because I grew up in a side manor, not the main building. I don't know how arrogant the Sieghart name is. That's why I want to see for myself what the real Sieghart is like by participating in training. Little Rayon was reincarnated and lives happily every day now, all thanks to Sylvia's care and upbringing. As Raon, I will protect Sylvia, the happiness and smiles of those precious to me. Since reincarnating desire and love have silently revived Rayon's once barren and corrupted heart for the first time in his life, he wants to fight for the lives of others. Not wanting to take anyone's life for that reason, Rayon told himself he must restore his mother's honor. I will definitely take back everything with these hands. Glenn's anger has subsided, but his stern attitude remains. You mean you'll judge the Sieghart clan through that basic training? Rayon answers without hesitation. Right now, that's the only way I can learn about the Sieghart clan. Hearing that, Glenn says, then I'll have to check everything to make sure the instructor is fully prepared. He tries his best, hoping not to disappoint you. After struggling like that, Rayon stumbles and falls. In my previous life, I was the best assassin, and now I'm someone who has learned about the legends of the continent. Fire Ring, if I can utilize all the power from them, then achieving a high position in the clan is not impossible. But even as he falls, Rayon's hand clenches tightly, his mind, echoing with the thought, I'll show you how hard the pebble you disdain is. The boys of the clan are diligently training. Karun sits in the room, arms crossed, a little doubtful. Isn't the boy a patient who can't move? He is the master of the martial arts hall, Karun Sieghart. His secretary quickly reports, yes, only 1 or 2 maids overheard the conversation between Ragged Saint and the head of the family. The young master must be very ill. Karun ponders, Before, when I saw the boy, his body wasn't normal. How could he withstand pressure from me? Karun clears his throat, saying, thinking back now, Sylvia was also the most talented. He orders his secretary, plant someone in the side manor. Understood. In the garden, Rayon diligently trains every day. He always tries acting as fast as possible. Sylvia runs right behind. She's afraid Joan will try too hard and get sick, so she gasps, Joan, don't push yourself too hard. But Rayon still tries his best. At training school, number 5, Glenn strides amidst everyone's greetings. Let's welcome the clan leader's visit. Welcome, Lord. Elsewhere, Rimmer is lying on the sofa with his hat covering his eyes. Suddenly, a voice rings out. Stop pretending to be asleep. Get up, Rimmer. He jumps up and is surprised to see Glenn. Oh my, I can't believe it. He smiles and says, you're the only one who can see through my feigning sleep skill, clan leader. He crosses his arms reproachfully. The instructors are sweating and running around and you're just relaxing here. He smiles calmly and says, they will naturally obey my orders. I use my head while those people do manual labor. It's fair. He grumbles helplessly, you're 50 and still acting like a child. He laughs and replies, people change and die, oh, but I'm an elf. Rimmer asks a question that makes Glenn immediately serious. But you came here because of your youngest grandson. He crosses his arms and says, Lady Sylvia also came to speak with me, but I didn't expect the clan leader himself to come like this. Hearing that he is surprised, Sylvia came here. He replies, she asked me not to let Rayon get hurt. He puts his hands on his hips and advises, if you also have that intention, then perhaps your trip this time was in vain, clan leader. You yourself said no one can interfere with training school number 5, not even you. Suddenly, his attitude changes, becoming serious. If you're worried about your youngest grandson, I'm no exception. Glenn calmly replies, of course. He didn't expect him to react like that, bewildered, He seriously reminds again, don't reduce the training intensity, keep increasing it until you see fit and eliminate the weak. Rimmer seems shocked and covers his mouth. Then your grandson will be expelled. Ah, clan leader, you mean? He immediately turns on his self-praise mode, shyly covering his face. Oh my, you love your descendants more than I thought. Is it because you couldn't take good care of Lady Sylvia, so you're showering affection on that child? Hearing that, he says a little angrily, if you weren't my comrade in arms, I would have had your head already. He instructs him, don't go easy on the boy, and remember to clearly distinguish between the good and the bad. Only keep those who meet the standards for training. Rimmer turns his head with a smile on his lips. Then obedience is better than respect. Glenn, having achieved his desire, turns and leaves. Yeah, do what you want, I'm going. He waves his hand in greeting, smiling and replying, yes, travel safely, clan leader. He crosses his arms, looking out the window, muttering, Round, I'm very curious what you are. The system now appears third fire ring. Obtained fire ring reaches 3 stars. Your body and soul have become a little stronger thanks to the effect of the 3-star fire ring. Strength, agility, and endurance have increased thanks to the effect of the 3-star fire ring mana affinity. Willpower and energy have been enhanced thanks to the effect of the 3-star fire ring. Water resistance reaches 3 stars. One of the 9 strands of the Ice Frost Curse Master has disappeared. Rayon sits on the bed, controlling the system, thinking to himself, 3 stars is a completely different level. My body's perception has increased. My mind is also clearer than before. He remembers Sylvia worrying about him. Why do you have to push yourself so hard on the first day? He says painfully. It's natural. Thanks to Sylvia's intervention, my limb muscles have started to develop without much difficulty. He touches the muscles on his arm. Besides, this magic status window also promotes my growth even more. This life is like a chessboard, but this is just the beginning. The Glen clan's training is notoriously arduous and harsh. 3 stars is just the necessary foundation to start as an apprentice in the clan. You need a solid foundation to build a tall house with wide doors and live through the days to come. His expectation is the one at the forefront of the army. By demonstrating superior achievements, I'll make those who once mocked me shut up. And the primary target is Robert, so after all, Holy Heaven Sword, Darius Robert. Rayon's face is thoughtful. I won't stop until I slit his throat. Suddenly, a voice calls out, startling him, Rayon! It turns out to be Sylvia. Why aren't you asleep? He is flustered. Ah, mother. He wonders, why are you still here at this hour? She sits down on the bed and says, tomorrow you'll go to the training school to start basic training, right? I have something to tell you. She smiles gently and warmly. Do you really have to go? Then she confides, actually, I still want to stop you. You always suppress yourself even if you're in pain. I don't know what to do if you get hurt all over during training. Sylvia places her hand on Rayon's shoulder, a little reluctant. It's not that I don't want you to go, but just 1 year. Can you postpone it for 1 year? However, his answer was already determined, making her heart skip a beat. I can't back down. He remembers the looks others give him, then says, every time I see relatives near and far, meet people every time I see their expressions as if they're looking at a weakling. He sadly places his hand on his chest and says, when they despise mother, I feel very angry, so I can't back down. His determination is immense. As long as you train well, they won't be able to look down on you anymore. These words completely move Sylvia. She smiles, bows her head, her cheeks slightly flushed. She pinches her fingernails and says, you're very smart, Rayon. You must have realized the reason I have to live alone and why people curse me. Then she recounts her love story. I met your father while on a mission and fell in love with him. But because of your father's status as a knight, it was very difficult for us to be together. And then for love, she made a painful decision. So I destroyed my mana channels and energy core and left the clan. Sylvia decides to reveal her long-held secret. Actually, you also have an older sister. She's 2 years older than you. Her name is Shia. Peaceful life didn't last long. While I was living peacefully, the army from Eden recognized and assassinated us. She and her husband were forced to take up swords to fight. Your father wasn't that strong and I was pregnant with you. Sylvia's eyes are full of fear, so we couldn't do anything. A miracle happened, but it was too late. Luckily, your father always secretly protected me, but they were far away. By the time they arrived, it was too late. She suffers when facing the truth. Her tears uncontrollably fall. At that time, your father and older sister had already died. Sylvia only manages a faint smile whenever she mentions that matter. I have nowhere else to go. With no other choice, I was forced to return to the clan, so I am considered a criminal of this clan. Her face is full of sorrow. I don't know what to say to your grandfather. After hearing all that, Rayon thinks to himself, so selfish, Sylvia is so selfish. He observes and evaluates. She abandoned the clan's responsibilities on her shoulders to pursue her own happiness, returning only to cause trouble. I understand why she is treated so harshly. But Sylvia is for me. But she is also the one who gave me this new life the first time I met someone who truly loved me so much. After all, everyone thinks she's selfish. At least to me, she's my only mother in 2 lifetimes. He asks, Mother, do you regret it? Do you want to go back to the time before you ran away from home? She smiles and replies, no, I don't regret it at all. She remembers the happy times with her lover. I lived as if I didn't exist in this house. Only when I left did I feel alive. That's enough. The smile on her lips gradually brightens and a happy expression appears. At that time, I was truly happy, and now I'm happy because I have you in my life. Sylvia looks down and continues, I'm so sorry, Rayon. I'm not a good mother. Rayon quickly comforts her, placing his hand on hers. It's okay, I'm fine, don't worry. He looks at her thinking to himself, even if others criticize mother as selfish, you are my precious and irreplaceable mother. He looks at Sylvia's tearful face, moved. Revenge will be successful after I help her regain her inheritance of the Zigzag Chat clan. Tears of happiness roll down Sylvia's cheeks. She couldn't hold back and burst into tears. Rayon is flustered. Mother, why are you crying? It's late at night. Rayon steps out of the room sighing tiredly. Mother finally calmed down. He sits down on the bed talking to himself. I should check the progress of the fire ring, then sleep. The training will start soon. He crosses his legs and begins to press his hands together. A stream of blue energy now emanates. He thinks to himself, not bad, The rotation speed of the fire ring is faster after reaching 3 stars. If 3 stars can do this, how fast will it be in the intermediate stage? Suddenly, the small flame flares up violently, startling him slightly. A voice suddenly speaks, "Finally, it's here." The flame grins mindlessly. "Your wrath has reached me, Star Essence Emperor. In the name of the second demon lord of the demon realm, Wrath, I will avenge you." Rayon doesn't understand what's happening. What is this? The system suddenly appears. Mysterious ability activated wrath. Ability established wrath has awakened. It raises its eyes to examine your body and soul. It wonders, why is there a child here? Rayon is confused. What are you? It's just as bewildered as him. I should be asking that question, who are you? My wrath can sense that it's not something a brat like you can emit. Its eyes widen. Then he corrects himself. No, it's you. You're hiding a very deep resentment in your heart. The Star Essence Emperor crawls onto him. All right, then offer your soul to me in return. I'll help you take the revenge you've always wanted. Rayon thinks of Robert. Did he appear because of my anger towards Darius before I died? But now it's too late. He looks up at it and says directly, "No, I don't need your help. I'll take revenge myself." It's confused. Huh. It wraps around him while he thinks, "I'll never get a second chance. I can't let someone else take revenge for me." Then he says, "I'll be the one to take Darius's head." It speaks, "It seems you're mistaken, kid." It grins, correcting, "I'm not here to negotiate with you." It flares up a large flame and says, "Ah, Star Essence Emperor, I've made a decision." Rayon is confused, his face a little worried, rubbing his shoulder, thinking, "What is this? Why is this flame so cold? Could it be—" The flame burns fiercely and speaks menacingly, "You just need to offer your body to me." Then it rushes madly towards him. He is bewildered and his whole body is stiff, unable to react. The Star Essence Emperor just flares up bigger and bigger, completely overwhelming Rayon. At this moment, the glass of water on the bedside table cracks slightly. He clutches his chest, his heavy body thinking, "So cold, my body no. Even my mind feels like it's frozen." His elemental attribute is ice, not fire. The Star Essence Emperor's face gradually appears, his voice, as if hypnotizing him. "Think about him. Release your wrath, even if they are gods. I, the Star Essence Emperor, will end them." His whole body shivers from the cold, secretly rejoicing. "Thanks to my water resistance skill, I can endure a little longer." But this attack isn't just affecting the temperature. He's a little worried facing this guy. A bad feeling arises. He constantly provokes my anger. The Star Essence Emperor whispers in his ear, "I'll smash his head and eat his flesh and drink his blood. Surrender quickly and offer your body to me." He thinks of his loved ones. "If I give him this body, who knows what he'll do to Sylvia and the servants in the house? Even if I die, I can't offer my body to him." The Star Essence Emperor returns to its blue flame form. "If you release your wrath and accept me, you will feel comfortable. But you choose to continue struggling meaninglessly. Like this, I once didn't want to harm this body, so I could use it later, but I don't think doing so will achieve anything." It constantly mutters in his ear, "I won't go easy on you anymore. Just eating you alive will solve the problem." His face is now full of pain. "My body feels like it's about to fall apart." He grits his teeth and endures, clutching his shoulder. "I've reached my limit. This body can't hold out much longer if this continues. I'll die soon. I want to live." Suddenly he is startled and his eyes widen. Then he clasps his hands and controls the spiritual powers. "If I can resist the ice aura, thanks to my water resistance skill, then it's possible I can also endure the physical and mental pain when using the fire ring. If I want to live, this is the only way." At this moment, the fire and water skills merge, surprising the Star Essence Emperor. Its face is bewildered, It's angry and can't believe the truth. "Huh? I just woke up? How could that happen? A mere human dares to challenge me." Rayon's eyes are full of determination. "I'll take revenge myself. I refuse to let a wandering soul possess my body." Hearing that the Star Essence Emperor is so angry, it contorts and screams, "Wandering soul! How dare you call the demon lord of the demon realm a wandering soul?" But he calmly replies, "You dare call yourself a demon lord when you can't even defeat me?" He constantly provokes it. Or is the real demon lord dead? You should disappear. It scowls. How dare you mock me? He sweats profusely, thinking to himself, he just said he just woke up. Maybe that's why he can't use his full power. Suddenly, the system appears auxiliary ability. What's this? Why suddenly? The Star Essence Emperor recognizes it and shouts, it's my power status window, why do you possess it? He's a little surprised. My stats are clearly displayed. Rayon wonders, what's the status window with the message? What does it have to do with you? The Star Essence Emperor, though, angry, still answers. Of course it's related, that system is self-created, but do you know why I can use it? The more it talks, the more confused he gets the system. What's it for? It's as if it's playing with him. Its dejected face replies, I have no reason to tell you. He still asks, is this also to promote growth? The Star Essence Emperor didn't expect him to see through it, stammering, how do you know? His calm demeanor, thinking to himself, he can't even control his emotions, no wonder he's wrath. He feels the energy flow in his body connecting to the system. It's strange, the effect of the fire ring is even stronger than in his previous life, so it's all thanks to the system. The Star Essence Emperor is gradually losing patience, angrily shouting, quickly offer your body and return my power. It speaks loudly and opens its mouth wide. Give it back now. It clings to his body. What do you think you're doing? Rayon automatically closes his hands, his face emotionless, saying, it's worth a try, even though I didn't use much mana for that punch. He crosses his arms, looking at the furious Star Essence Emperor. How dare a human treat me like this? He thinks to himself. Is he an invisible soul? Then aura won't do anything to him? He's been showing off like this for so long and still no one has appeared. He waves his hand at the flame to make it fly elsewhere. Perhaps I'm the only one who can see and feel him. Suddenly it shouts, catch this! To Rayon's surprise, a blue flame wraps around his wrist, and immediately it forms a bracelet with a snowflake pattern. Rayon looks at it wondering, this is. The Star Essence Emperor's voice echoes from the bracelet. My seal has just been broken, but my power will return. When the time is right, you'll have no way to stop me. I'll possess you until you have no more resentment left. He furrows his brow, a little annoyed. He's really troublesome. I really want to kill him. He imagines Sylvia sleeping soundly. But if I force him to separate from me, the system might disappear. And besides, who knows what he'll do to Sylvia and Helen to catch me? Rayon brings the bracelet closer to his eyes, looking carefully. It's better to keep him with me for easier monitoring. I'll trust in my own ability to improve. Hopefully, I can counter him. It's late outside now, the moon is high in the sky. The two of them are still arguing, a little unrelated. But then you choose a flower bracelet, it doesn't suit you at all. My personal preference, don't judge. I know, whatever. Finally, the new day begins. The mist gradually dissipates and clouds cover the barren hills. Helen is trying to comfort Sylvia. The young master will be fine. Sylvia is tense. I know, but still. Suddenly, Rayon's voice rings out, I'm ready. He walks down the stairs with a radiant smile on his lips. I'm going to the training school. Helen instructs Rayon, young master, remember to be careful, don't push yourself too hard. He replies, I remember, Helen, I'll be back. Helen starts a conversation with the sniffling Sylvia. Lady Sylvia, you're seeing off the young master without being happy, the young master will feel sad. Hearing that, she immediately sits down, placing her hand on his shoulder. Raon, be careful on your way. Don't worry. As I told you, if it's too hard, just give up. Don't push yourself too hard. Immediately after he leaves and doesn't forget to wave goodbye, Sylvia watches her son's retreating figure and says, everything will be all right, right? Helen comforts her. The young master has improved a lot, he'll pass the training and come back. Her eyes are full of sadness. That's right. Compared to before, the boy is much better. But this child, she remembers past moments, Helen trying to persuade her, Lady Sylvia, why is this writing so famous for being insightful at Zichat? With young Master Rayon's efforts, he'll be able to do it. Rayon hugs her and reassures, that's right, mother. I promised I won't let myself get hurt. Hearing his mature words, Sylvia sheds tears of happiness and a little sadness. Don't worry. I'll definitely keep my word. Sylvia places her hand on her chest, remembering Rayon's voice. Just trust me. She silently calls his name, Rayon. Watching his retreating figure, she can't hold back and cries, trembling, "Come back safe and sound." At Zichat Training School number 5, the students are now getting to know each other. Which house are you from? They probably aren't strict with students, right? My parents told me I have to get into the top 10. Rayon looks around, thinking to himself, just as rumored, there are a lot of people here. He walks alone despite the noisy children playing around. Not only are there relatives at the chat training school, but also those nominated by vassal clans. He's still pondering. According to Helen, because there are so many people this year, they even have to build 6 training schools. Suddenly, a few voices ring out, catching his attention. Isn't that him? A few people look at him and whisper, "Look at his shriveled muscles, they'll probably crumble with just a touch. A sick person like him will probably run away halfway. Why does he have to come here and show off?" Not only that, they even scrutinize the Star Essence Emperor and that flowery bracelet. What era is it from so outdated? The Star Essence Emperor hears it and gets angry. What are you saying? It comes before the two of them, cursing meaninglessly. You trash, you nobles are blind. The Star Essence Emperor will crush your bones and tear your flesh, then gouge out your eyes. Suddenly, Rayon speaks up. What are you two discussing? He says with a calm expression. Say it to my face. He looks at them and says frankly, don't you know it's wrong to talk badly about others behind their backs? The other two are startled. How dare you? It's clear that you're a spoiled brat. Forced to live in the side building, you're an outsider, not a direct descendant. Hearing those words, he not only doesn't lose his composure, but also tilts his head and asks, what status do you have to use the word dare when you yourselves are only from a collateral branch? It seems he hit a nerve. The other two are speechless. Isn't that word? Only for opponents of lower status. One of them loses his temper and lunges, grabbing his collar, swinging his fist. You're a real ingrate. Rayon's eyes flash, his expression terrifying. Suddenly, a voice rings out. Stop right there. It turns out it was from behind. The training is about to start. What are you doing? You dare to tarnish the reputation of the Chat clan in front of outsiders. Yadidais. Seeing him, the other two shyly scratch their heads, stammering, Young master, I'm sorry. He walks up to Rayon, arms crossed, saying, and you should know your place. His expression is extremely arrogant. You're just a tiny speck of dust that I can brush away if I want. If you don't want to be kicked out of the side building, then live peacefully. Burin thinks of the people in the side building and is jealous. The kid in front of him has attracted all the attention of the clan leader, but he's using circumstances instead of his own real abilities. He angrily grits his teeth, an uneducated brat who shouldn't even be allowed to train dares. He turns and leaves, not forgetting to threaten Rayon. If you're not planning to participate in the training, then get out of here right now. Otherwise, get out of my sight because you won't be able to pass this training. Rayon calmly replies, startling him. I've heard enough of your nonsense. It's time for him to refute. You're a direct descendant, but you don't have any rank. You're going to kick me out of the side building. You think you can do that when you're not even a student yet. Speaking of which, his face shows a little dissatisfaction. Oh, I guess you might have a chance to do that if you go crying and begging your father. How could he say that with a disgusted look a collateral descendant dares? As the fight is about to break out, the nearby door is suddenly kicked open by Rimmer's long, charming legs. He seems excited about this, speaking loudly. Wow, you guys are already fighting. I guess it's because you have the spirit of youth, right? Idol. Rayon sees him and immediately recognizes him. Isn't that Rimmer, the light sword of the Richard clan? I heard he retired after his core was damaged. Rimmer still smiles and says, or maybe you'll fight again after the opening ceremony. Rayon's thoughts continue. I didn't expect him to be here. Seeing him, he clicks his tongue, turns and leaves. He speaks loudly to all the students. Welcome, I am the head instructor, the one who will supervise your training process. He smiles brightly, introducing himself. My name is Rimmer. I hope we will cooperate smoothly. Rimmer stands above, hands on hips, speaking loudly and naturally. I heard there are 160 students participating in the training, but there are only 8 instructors no matter how you look at it. There are too many students. So I'll reduce that number through an examination. Speaking of which, Rimmer's face is extremely excited. Exactly only 1-4 will be kept. The people below hear this and are horrified. Only keep that many people impossible. What's going on? I'm just separating the good from the bad. You know, I only want to choose a few outstanding people. The Star Essence Emperor heard and got angry. You arrogant bastard, you dare to look down on the Star Essence Emperor, or I will tear this goblin to pieces. Zeon grabbed the bracelet. Be quiet. Rimmer sat down on the chair and continued. In this school, I am the law. If you have any questions, go see the clan leader. Let's start now. His face was completely calm. Huh. What are you guys doing? Run away quickly. They were confused and didn't understand what was going on. Huh. Although no one understood anything, they still ran as fast as their legs could carry them. In his cheers, endurance and will were the foundation of martial arts. Run a few laps at the gym. Run until you stop. Run at top speed for me. The Star Essence Emperor now mutters. If you want to run, you have to get ahead. What are you doing staying behind? Why did he suddenly make us run? Rayon runs lightly. This isn't a competition. There's no need to surpass others. He thinks of Rimmer's personality, thinking to himself, what Rimmer values is a person's potential and character. Among the students here, he seems to be the most special. He doesn't pay attention to superficial things. His face is drenched in sweat. His eyes determined. Those who can endure will pass this examination. I'll definitely last until the end. Seeing Burin and Runan, the others immediately notice them. Young Master and Lady Runan are truly unmatched. They discuss the 2 children. Everyone is doing very well, but those 2 children are still the most outstanding. This isn't even their maximum speed. At that pace, they can run for hours. Their faces are flushed from exhaustion. Only 12 years old and already at that level. Just thinking about the future of these children makes me wary. And finally, one of them notices Rayon. Is that little kid the one in the rumors? Rayon's complexion doesn't look good. He clutches his chest tiredly. It's not surprising. The boy can't keep up, constantly falling behind. That child is sick. Running at that speed is already impressive. They constantly gossip without realizing Rimmer is standing behind them. The boy looks tired. He'll probably fail soon. Rimmer smirks. His eyes show interest, thinking to himself, interesting, have I ever met a child like him? Immediately he thinks of Glenn. I thought only those whose potential I couldn't see were the strongest, because I couldn't see through their depth. Then he imagines the adult forms of Burin and Runan. I can see the characteristics and colors of those children, know what kind of people they will become in the future. Rimmer looks at Rayon's retreating figure hesitantly. But what about Rayon? Why? To him, Rayon is just a transparent object. I can't see any color. His face is extremely interested, meaning the boy's potential is beyond my perception. Then he can't help but exclaim, so interesting. The students see Rayon can't catch up and tease him. See? He acts arrogant and then ends up last. He should be grateful for being last. He's about to fail anyway. Look at his foolish expression. I bet he won't last another 10 minutes. Even he has to widen his eyes in surprise. Impossible. He wonders. Is this training really that simple? It's just training. Why are they only making us run? He remembers the nightmarish scene from his previous life. In his previous life, they released several starved monsters. I had to run for my life to survive, not just run like this. Thinking of this, his face brightens up. Is it too simple? All the students try to speed up to the finish line. Rayon runs neither fast nor slow, brushing past Rimmer. He's a little startled, thinking to himself, is that kid okay? How can he still keep running? He thought Rayon should be in a corner panting by now. His stamina should have been depleted long ago. This goes beyond what people call perseverance or stubbornness. This kid should have no stamina left to even crawl. He suddenly remembers the warriors he trained. Such strong willpower can only exist in warriors who have trained relentlessly and experienced countless life or death situations. How can this kid possess such strong willpower? His face is full of interest. He speaks, "Ron Richards, so interesting." Bruden is now exhausted and realizes Rayon is right behind him. He's a little angry and confused. How can he still keep running? I was sure he had no conditions to train his muscles. He remembers the doctor's words. According to the St. Sylvia's son is very likely to die. So forget about becoming a warrior, and he's even worse than the last time I saw him. That's when he eavesdropped on Glenn's conversation. But how? He grits his teeth angrily. All of them are so annoying, all right, I'll show them. He now activates his skill, a stream of light, like lightning bolts shoots out, controlling aura. That there's a huge difference in skill between us, to the point where you want to give up everything and surrender. Bruden speeds up and leaves the crowd behind. Runen still runs calmly, while Rayon is a little surprised, his eyes widening. He thinks to himself, for that noble style, he's just a kid. Then he looks Runan psychologically, he's more mature than him. He continues to run with effort. We're not competing with each other in this test. This is a confrontation with myself. There's no reason to be affected by him and disrupt my current pace. The sky is now covered with white clouds and dazzling sunlight shines down. Everyone is exhausted after running for so long. Everyone is panting heavily. One of them is a little jealous, wiping sweat from his cheek, thinking to himself, "Damn it, what the heck is this? How can he still keep running? I was sure people said he was sick." Rayon is still running with effort. Does he even know what fatigue is? He seems to be out of breath, but still tries, thinking to himself, "Stop blabbering like this is easy. I'm about to die from the coldness of my body now." His heart seems to radiate a fiery red flame. It feels like his heart and lungs are being squeezed, but somehow I can still prolong my stamina by optimizing the use of the fire ring. Although tired, a smile still appears on his lips. The only thing to be relieved about here is that the fire ring is developing rapidly. I guess I need to exert myself to the fullest for it to have maximum effect if I keep going like this. The Star Essence Emperor now speaks sarcastically. How pathetic you are, even though your body will be possessed by the Star Essence Emperor. You're not only being left behind, but look at your despicable state. It grins with a large blue flame. Give it to me. Offer your body to the Star Essence Emperor, besides surpassing that blue-haired guy. His eyes widen and he struggles a little, thinking to himself, "Damn it, this is the worst time for this." It suddenly flares up and opens its mouth as if to swallow him. I'll make them completely immobile. Rayon's whole body now aches as if an electric current is passing through it. He grits his teeth in pain, trying to encourage himself. I have to endure. My senses are leaving me because of the anger. Sweat drips down his chin, his legs still running, and his eyes already dazed. But I need to pretend nothing is happening as much as possible. He reminds the Star Essence Emperor, "Stop your foolish tricks and leave it alone, that thing won't work on me." The Star Essence Emperor grins and says, "Don't make me laugh. How can you not be affected? No mortal in this world can withstand the wrath of the Star Essence Emperor." He clutches his chest amidst its disdainful voice. "Let's see how long you can hold out." Rayon opens his mouth wider to gulp in air, thinking to himself, I need to endure it. If I show weakness now, he can feel that if he relaxes even for a second, his body will be taken over. He will rush in and tear me apart immediately. The Star Essence Emperor sees his stubbornness and roars, "This stubborn bastard, why doesn't the wrath of the Star Essence Emperor work on you?" He stumbles forward, his face dark. It really hurts. I feel like I'm about to die. I can't even control my body anymore." His vision has narrowed. My sight is fading. I can't even breathe properly anymore. His eyes only faintly flicker with the last bit of light. Is this the farthest I can reach? At this moment, the other students speak up. "Hey, you can stop now." Bruden grumbles, "You're really stubborn." Rayon leans on his knees, panting, thinking to himself, I almost died there. This life won't be easy either. Runen looks at him silently. The Star Essence Emperor can't believe this. What a monster. How can you? He smirks and replies, "That's why I told you it's useless. It has no effect on me." He places his hand on his chest, feeling the burning flame, smiling to himself. Even so, it clearly helped the growth of the fire ring. Besides, my body has also developed thanks to the status window. If I continue to train like this, I'll definitely have. Suddenly he looks up, stopping. It turns out the system panel has appeared. The conditions have been met. Extreme movement surpasses one's physical limits. Stats have been enhanced. Strength has increased. Agility has increased. Stamina has increased. The Star Essence Emperor is stunned, unable to believe its eyes. What's going on? Why did it give you more stats for overcoming the Star Essence Emperor's attack? Obo. Rayan also can't hide his surprise, his eyes widening, the Star Essence Emperor's voice still echoing in his ears. This is ridiculous. Rimmer now speaks up. Well done, everyone. We'll end the test here. He continues, making everyone below tense. Ah, about what I told you before you ran. Who would have thought he'd change his attitude, 180 degrees smiling and saying, I lied about eliminating everyone and only keeping 1-4 of you. Everyone seems dissatisfied with that, murmuring, what, I ran my hardest just for that. He calmly replies, no way I'd eliminate so many students on the first day. They'd never let me teach again if I did that. Besides, I never said I'd eliminate you after this test. Suddenly, his eyes become sharp and cold. But if you keep training like today, most of you will be eliminated. Hearing that, they are startled. Rimmer walks away, saying, I clearly told you to run at full speed. However, not one of you 160 ran at full speed until the very end except for one person. Speaking of which, Bruden suddenly feels a pang, and some of you even sneakily used aura. He squats right in front of Rayon, chin in hand, smiling and saying, actually, what you do doesn't matter, because you're the ones taking the test, not me. He raises his finger and makes a symbol, Rayon's image fitting perfectly within it. However, you'll definitely pass the test as long as you follow my instructions, so don't worry about that. Well, it's not easy to do either. Rimmer, hands on hips, continues, from this moment on you will become temporary rookies. I will remove the word temporary if you can pass the test in the next 6 months. He smiles brightly and adds, by the way, I'm also planning to choose a top rookie, but I won't rank you. The sky is now clear blue. He still has many things to say. Well, you'll be able to experience the most luxurious accommodation the clan has prepared. There's also an indoor training ground on the left, so you can go check it out too. Everything temporarily ends here. The forest is vast and has many ancient trees. Rimmer walks with hands in pockets. Then he speaks. I have a guest waiting at my dreamstone. Right, my lord. That person is none other than Glenn. He asks, how are things? He closes his eyes and replies, you shouldn't be asking me that. You must have seen everything since you've come all this way. He talks about Burin and Runan. You know how good I am at judging others as expected. Burin and Runan have the most outstanding talent, and the other children also have the potential to become pillars of the clan in the future. He crosses his arms, speaking vaguely, however. Then he says frankly, I don't see anything from Raon at all. He continues, I don't understand why that kid could still run at the end. His stamina should have been depleted long ago. This is the first time I've seen anything like this since the last time I saw you, Lord. Rimmer leans back against the rock, laughing and saying, a day passes so boringly since my core energy dissipated, but I have a feeling this will be interesting. Glenn flicks his cloak and says, you're the one who demanded to be the instructor for those rookies. He just leaves like that, his voice still echoing. Your job isn't to find joy, but to raise the children into warriors of the Richard clan. He replies, of course, my lord. Then he voices his thoughts. Besides, I have a feeling I'll be able to entrust my future to one of those rookies. Glenn knows what he's implying. He naturally has no faith in that. It's just a coincidence that kid can hardly become a warrior. He doesn't reply and just lets him leave. The corners of his mouth curve slightly. You know very well that's not the truth. Rayon sighs tiredly and says, basic training is over. Let's go back to the training school. The Star Essence Emperor grumbles, after all that brat is so mean. The other students look at him with hateful eyes, so unreasonable. They are in the dueling room. Unless he's cheating, there's no way he could last that long. You're right, I'm sure I've heard about his illness. Crying crosses his arms, asserting confidently, it's definitely because of the elixir. Then he makes up a story. I heard that ragged saint once gave it to him. Huh, did he really do that? The other two hear this and believe it wholeheartedly, immediately buzzing. so he can run thanks to the power of the elixir, and he still pretends to be very talented for lasting until the end, shameless bastard. Crine tilts his head, muttering, "So I'm thinking, should I teach that arrogant bastard a lesson?" As soon as he says it, Rayon is thrown against a tree painfully. He asks confusedly, "Why did you suddenly do that?" He laughs and replies, "Ha, don't you know?" His two accomplices point at his face and shout, "You were abandoned by the direct lineage and still dare to brag when you're just relying on the power of some elixir you luckily got. If you didn't have the elixir bestowed by the saint, there's no way you could run like today." He silently listens to their curses, already too used to it. "How dare you play those tricks on us? People from collateral branches have no special abilities." He thinks to himself, kids are still kids. This ridiculous reason. They start to warm up their bones. "Don't be afraid, we just brought you out here to talk." "That's right. We just want to chat with you a bit." Crine is the first one. He cracks his knuckles and says, "Don't worry, this happens often." He grins with amusement, swinging his fist and lunging. "You heard the teacher, we have to learn from each other." The Star Essence Emperor even scorns him. "What, my master is treated like this, and still endures it even though it's not a sad matter." Suddenly Rayon throws a punch right before he can do anything, seeing that the other two are wide-eyed and open-mouthed. Every moment now seems to slow down. He gradually leans back. Even the Star Essence Emperor is surprised by this. They run to the worried spot, talking. "Yeah, you're right." Rayon's face now looks terrifying, the veins on his hands clearly visible. "Let's talk with our fists." Seeing that the other guy rushes over slowly, and of course he dodges it as easily as eating a pie. Then he gives him a painful punch to the stomach as if preparing to meet his ancestors. The remaining guy doesn't understand what his accomplice is doing. Speaking up, "What are you doing?" He reproaches, "Why did you lose?" But before he could finish his sentence, Rayon lands a painful punch on his face. Not stopping there, he lands another kick, making him roll his eyes. The Star Essence Emperor can't believe its eyes. Its face lights up. "You just landed a punch. This scene is truly once in a millennium." Rayon continues to punch another guy. Finally, only the sound of flesh hitting flesh can be heard. It's unknown how long has passed. A bruised-faced guy struggles to get up. "Ugh, old man." They lie flat on the ground, begging, "Don't, I can't breathe anymore. We were wrong, stop." He mercilessly steps on his hand. A painful groan escapes. He bends down, smirking and saying, "Before we end things, let me ask you something." His face pale. Okay. Hearing this question, he panics. "Who instigated you to do this?" Bruden. He tells the truth. "No, we did it behind his back. It has nothing to do with this." He can't quite believe his ears, thinking to himself, "Surprising, I thought he didn't like me. Maybe he's not that bad." Then he asks again, "You guys won't go telling your classmates about today's chat, right?" Seems to understand, trembling with fear and replying, "Of course not." Rayon grabs his hair. His face is terrifyingly threatening. "All right, if you don't want to talk again tomorrow, then try to stay away from me tomorrow." His eyes are full of fear. "We won't touch you anymore. We were wrong." He orders, "If you understand, then scram." Unexpectedly, Rimmer behind the tree witnessed everything. He happily thinks to himself, what a beautiful sight it feels like witnessing the Lord when he was young. The boy's bloodline is real. He also has martial arts talent. He mutters to himself, "A warm gem among the most talented. I'm really looking forward to you, kid." Rayon Richard. It's now midnight. The moonlight and countless stars illuminate the sky. Rayon is in his room. The system appears before his eyes. Conditions met. Wrath is very pleased with your reaction. Agility increased by 1 point. The Star Essence Emperor sees this and is furious. "What's this? You get points for pleasing the Star Essence Emperor? This system is crazy." He calmly says, "You created it. Why don't you know?" It gets close to his face and says, "Of course I've never tried this system on anyone else. This is because you stole it from the Star Essence Emperor." His reaction is very calm. He slowly stands up. "Oh, is that so?" Seeing this, it gets even more annoyed. Ungrateful brat. It keeps glaring at him with a low growl in its throat. Then it speaks with dissatisfaction. "I have a suggestion for you." Brown is confused. Suggestion. The Star Essence Emperor makes a strange request. Make a bet with the Star Essence Emperor. If you win, I'll give you stat points. But if you lose, you have to accept my wrath. Immediately, the system appears. Wrath proposes a bet, with you condition pass the test for official students. Place first, if successful all stats, +2, and receive any attribute. If failed, create 10 points of wrath emotion. Rayon asks, you mean placing first in the competition to become an official student that Rimmer mentioned? It replies, that's right. He said there would be a clear first place result. He asks again, so what's any attribute? It replies, one of the Star Essence Emperor's attributes will be bestowed upon you. Of course, the level will be lowered to suit an ordinary person like you. He still seems curious. Then just one more question. What's with creating 10 points of wrath emotion if I fail? The Star Essence Emperor once again explains to him, it means exactly what it says. You will receive the emotion of wrath, the thing the Star Essence Emperor possesses. It grins and says, the feeling of wrath that the Star Essence Emperor passes on to you is nothing but if you keep the Star Essence Emperor's wrath, you will lose control of your emotions. The image of Rayon losing control appears before his eyes as if becoming a different person, no matter how strong your will is. He looks at it thinking to himself, so that's his intention. Then he raises his coffee cup and drinks. Looking at the way he behaves like a man of his word, I don't think he's lying. He even answers very honestly. He thinks about this for a long time. It's like tasting forbidden fruit. Compared to that reward, the risk of failure is quite small. Perhaps this is the poisonous apple I have to eat. For a sick person like me, achieving valedictorian will be very difficult, but I'm someone who has been reincarnated. Rayon extends his hand and says, the conditions aren't bad, all right, I accept. Hearing that, the Star Essence Emperor's eyes light up. Very good. A blue flame appears and envelops his hand. The system announces you have accepted Wrath's bet. He silently reminds himself, if I utilize the experience from my previous life, I'll never lose. Outside the city, the sky is now bright with warm golden sunlight. A student lies on the ground, tired, sweat pouring down his face. They sit there, sighing tiredly. My legs are about to explode. I have no strength left to stand up. I've been running myself ragged since morning, and now this. Remembering Rimmer cheerfully assigning tasks to the students, what you are doing is the horse stance. Even though it's just a riding stance, don't underestimate it. The students are aching all over while he stands aside laughing and saying, this is the basic stance in martial arts. Everyone has to practice it. Hold that stance until I say stop. I'm going to sleep. Then he adds, of course it's not mandatory. So I'll remind you again. You guys rest, not me. One side angrily shouts, it's too hard. I'm not doing it anymore. When will we get to learn swordsmanship? Another helplessly says, forget it. We've only been running and doing horse stance so far. Bruden walks by and says, then stop complaining. Basic training is over. Go practice because we're only learning basic exercises. Your swordsmanship will be worn down. The Star Essence Emperor watches them leave, a little regretful they're gone. It asks, they're going to practice swordsmanship. Aren't you going with them? Rayon frankly replies, I don't need to go now. With these poor skills, practicing swordsmanship is just a waste of time. He continues with physical training even though he's tired. What I need now is not a sword, but foundational strength and stamina. He wants to harmonize his ice and fire skills. Currently, because of the ice curse, my physical strength is much weaker than others. For growth and training, the foundation is still the most important. Sweat constantly drips down his chin. He's planking with focus. So now I have to focus on strengthening my body more than anything else. Finally, he stands up. At this moment, a figure is standing outside. It turns out to be Rune, and she thinks to herself, that guy is Rayon Richard. She looks at him, evaluating. He's progressing so fast, his weights are heavier than yesterday. I'm sure I heard he was sick. She stands there lost in thought. But day by day, the weights he can lift also get heavier. Clearly, he has to train hard to lift heavier weights. Rayon is now lifting weights in the training hall, but increasing it like this every day is unreasonable. How can I lift an extra 10 kilos of weights in a week? She wonders, maybe it's because he's different. Why is a patient so persistent? Finally, Runan chooses to step inside, muttering his name in her head, Rayon Richard. She walks up to Round. This guy definitely has something. He looks up confused, Runan Sullian. He asks, "Why are you here?"